Ohio State just landed a big-time playmaker.
You are Locked On Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in, Buckeye fans, to your Tuesday edition of Locked On Buckeyes, which is your daily Ohio State podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I am your host, Jay Stevens, veteran sports talk host, delivering passionate coverage about your Buckeyes. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. During today's show, we'll discuss two games that Fox has already claimed to broadcast in the Buckeyes' upcoming season, as well as the importance of player development for a high school recruit. But first, Ohio State has done a phenomenal job of setting the right foundation for the 2026 recruiting class. While doing that, they have stockpiled some quality offensive linemen, and they've acquired some top-end talent, Chris Henry Jr. and Blaine Bradford. But then there comes a time where there's some guys on the recruiting trail that see what Ohio State's doing, know what Ohio State's known for on the football field, and they say, hey, I want to be a part of that. In comes the latest commitment, which came from Jordan Thomas, who is a four-star corner from Ordell, New Jersey. This young man is physical. He has a 78-inch wingspan. He is versatile, and he fits everything Ohio State wants in a defensive back. And that part right there is very, very big, and it ties into something that Matt Patricia and Ryan Day preached all spring. Versatility, versatility, versatility. The more versatile you are as a player, that's the bigger asset you are. You're more available when you can play more positions. And it also makes Ohio State's depth a big, big deal, and it makes them deeper as a team. Depth is one thing that if you think about a year ago at this time, we were questioning depth on the offensive line. We were questioning depth in some positions. At the end of the day, we focus on the offensive line. The questions we had about Ohio State's depth on the O-line, they got the answers in the middle of a season where you have guys like Luke Montgomery and Austin Serveld and Tedrick Chabola and even Donovan Jackson playing at positions or in roles that they didn't envision themselves play at the beginning of the year. But at the end of the day, that's what Ohio State needed them to do to win a national championship. And Jordan Thomas's versatility is huge. He talks about, I'm going to read a quote about some things that he said in regards to his own versatility. But Ohio State getting a kid like this at this time of year is huge. Also, when you have guys like Chris Henry Jr. and others that are shutting down their commitment that are already in this cycle, that's talking about the commitment these guys have as 16, 17, 18-year-old young men to Ohio State, and the importance of knowing your word is your bond. There's none of this, hey, I'm going to make a verbal commitment but not really stick to it. I'm going to take these visits and I'm going to entertain these other schools. No. Your word is your bond. Same as putting your John Hancock on a lease on an apartment. Your word is your bond, and that's it. If you tell somebody you're going to play there, you're going to play there. That's it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Now, I know in today's society, that's one thing that kind of gets overlooked by some people, and people don't buy into that thought that you could just say one thing but not mean it. Not with these kids. There are multiple kids in this recruiting class that are players that are putting their money where their mouth is, and they're shutting down their recruitment, which is huge. I don't know if Jordan Thomas is going to be that kind of guy, but if he is, I'm all for it. He's a physically imposing player at 6'1", 185 pounds. He's also the second best player in the state of New Jersey via 24/7 Sports recruiting rankings. He's the ideal run defender as a corner, but also his secondary versatility is huge. Now, we all know with the Buckeyes defense, you're playing outside corner. So many people can play nickel corner. But then you got Jordan Hancock. I think this guy may not be he might be a Jordan Hancock in the future. But right now, I think his ability to play outside corner and inside corner makes me think of Jordan Hancock. I'm not saying he's going to be the same kind of player, but that versatility is where these two guys connect. Here's what Jordan Thomas had to say about his versatility and the kind of player he is. Quote, Ohio State is recruiting me as a defensive back that can play outside or inside. Starting out as a cornerback is the plan for my comfortability and eventually being able to move inside at star or nickel. I am a versatile athlete who understands the game and can make game-changing plays when the opportunity is provided. I can play all types of coverages. It can shut down my side of the field as well as anyone who lines up against me in man coverage, end quote. The confidence that this young man is spewing out when he's speaking about his own playing ability is stuff I love. As a corner, especially one on the outside, you got to have the ability and the mindset that nobody's going to score on me. You're not catching the ball on me. And if you do, I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that doesn't happen again. Now, it's easier said than done, but it reminds me of guys that are just confident. I'm not saying they're going to be a Chad Ochocinco or Terrell Owens or Keyshawn Johnson, three wide receivers I grew up watching that had that mentality that if I am on the field, you throw me the ball. 2 guys, 3 guys, 4 guys on me, I don't care. If I'm on the field, I'm always open, so you throw me the ball. I don't get the sense that he is saying that when he's making these words, but I am getting the sense this young man just believes in himself. Now, Jordan Thomas is currently the 13th player to verbally commit to Ohio State, and he is the second corner. The other one, Jacob Witherspoon, out of Avon, Ohio. He's sitting at 5'10", 172 pounds. He's also a 4-star recruit. But this class so far, I like what we got. I like it. There are some things that I would like to see them do, but as far as the positives, you got multiple safeties that are really, really good, and Blaine Bradford and Simeon Caldwell. You got guys like Caden Dixon Wyatt and Chris Henry Jr. that are high school teammates that have both already shut down their recruitment. You have also some other receivers in Jaden Ricketts, who's from Ohio, as well as Brock Boyd, who's from South Lake, Texas. That may sound familiar to some of you. He goes to the same high school that Quinn Ewers used to go to. But you add in multiple offensive linemen, Maxwell Riley, Sam Greer, Tucker Smith. I like what you got. I love the foundation. Now, as I said, a strong foundation with some guys at skill positions and some guys in the O-line. I would love to see a quarterback commit by the end of summer. I would love to see 2 to 3 defensive linemen commit by the end of the summer. Take your official visits, go around, see what these schools are talking about, but then realize Ohio State just had their entire starting D line from a national championship winning team get drafted. That's not normal. Alabama has won a lot of national championships under Nick Saban. That's not something I don't think Nick Saban could say was a consistent thing for his schools, his teams. No. LSU's won natties and the other schools won a national championship that might get vacated. What you're finding with Ohio State, if you're a defensive lineman, the end, maybe you're kind of a hybrid, don't matter. Ohio State's going to do some things over the first 4 to 6 weeks of the season that are going to attract a lot of different styles of defensive linemen. If you're a normal nose tackle, you're going to see some of that in Ohio State's defense. If you're a 3-tech or a 1-tech, cool. You're going to see some of that 3-tech or 1-tech in a 4-down set. You're going to see some of that. If you're a hybrid stand-up defensive end, you're going to see some of that too. All of what you're going to see in the Buckeyes' upcoming season is going to attract top-tier defensive linemen to commit to Ohio State in the future. Not only will they see some things in the future that are going to attract them to Ohio State, but they've also seen some things specifically in the last season that will attract them to Ohio State as well. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA playoffs are in full swing, and every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments. Whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player, there's never been a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off, and with player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays, fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. New to FanDuel, it's the perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet, and if it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Y'all, that's so good, I gotta say it again. Are you new to FanDuel? And if you are, it's a perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel. official sports betting partner of the NBA. Thank y'all for tapping Locked On Buckeyes and making this show your first listen of the day. Anytime you get a guy like Jordan Thomas that has his versatility and is physically imposing and makes plays that jump out the screen, you wonder what lured that guy to Ohio State. Maybe it was the Buckeyes winning the most recent national championship. Maybe it's Ryan Day. Maybe he wants to do what Matt Patricia used to do or wants to be what Matt Patricia used to be, which is being in the NFL. Whatever the case may be, I wonder, what lured them to Ohio State? And Jordan Thomas actually talked about this, and he discussed when he talked about his offer about getting that from Ohio State. He talked about how it felt and what the most appealing part about potentially playing at Ohio State was, quote, "It felt amazing. I felt very thankful and honored to be blessed with the opportunity to play at The Ohio State University. I would say the development is the most appealing part of potentially playing at OSU," end quote. And when I keep going back and trying to dig into Jordan Thomas and the player that he is, the fact that he said, quote, "I would say that the development is the most appealing part of potentially playing at Ohio State," end quote. That's huge to me. Because in a world where there are a lot of guys out there that are trying to follow the wind, follow the direction the wind is blowing. Oh, it's blowing here, I'm going that way. Oh, it's blowing to the opposite direction, I'm going that way. The next thing you know, there's also guys that are saying, man, where the biggest bag at? Oh, you got a bag that big? Man, I might be able to go somewhere else and get a bag just a little bit bigger. Next thing you know, that other bag you thought was going to be a little bit bigger. It's a lot smaller, but you're committed to that school. And next thing you know, you're not getting the money you want. You can chase the money. You can chase a whole lot of things. But player development is still key. And player development matters. It matters today. It's going to matter tomorrow. It's going to matter 20 years from now. The reason why Ohio State is in the position they are with Jordan Thomas and Chris Henry Jr. and others is because of the player development. Ryan Day would not be able to be at the level he is right now at Ohio State without player development. Let's look at a couple guys from last year's team where player development was very, very big. I'm going to talk about one guy that spent 1 year at Ohio State, and another guy that was a 4-year Buckeye. Will Howard and Travion Henderson. Those are two guys that in last year you saw their best play as a collegiate athlete. Now, for Travion Henderson, he had more rushing yards his freshman year than he had in his final year at Ohio State. So statistically, you could say, Jay, his yardage was smaller last year than it was his freshman year. So how was it his best year? He was a better all-around running back last year than he was during the previous 3 years that he played in the Scarlet and Gray. His ability to pass block was one of the most beautiful things I have seen from a Buckeye running back in a very long time. And Ohio State has some pretty good pass-protecting running backs. But Travion Henderson was different. His selfless nature, his ability to lay his body out there to protect his teammates and to keep their brotherhood close to his heart. That's why I believe he played so well last year. And that's why when Ryan Day called him in the offseason and said, hey, Quinshon Judkins was to come here. What are your thoughts? Travion Henderson said, hey, coach, I'm going to get back to you about that. I'm going to think about this and then get back to you. The next thing you know, he's like, coach, whatever you want to do, whatever you got to do to win, let's do it. And that's not something to expect a lot of kids, youngsters his age, to go out there and just simply say, coach, whatever we got to do to win, let's make that thing rock. A lot of guys, I know people my age that are not in Henderson's age, will sit up here and say, man, let me get the rock. Let me tote that thing as many times as I can. That's the best way for me to raise my draft stock. So a lot of guys out there that will think that way. But for Travion Henderson, he wasn't thinking that. Coach, what we got to do to win? That's it. And let me know what that is. If that means bringing in Quinshon Judkins, great. And what happened last year for Travion Henderson while spending time with Quinshon Judkins? He was a better running back, just toting the rock, than he was previously. Vision got better. His physicality got better. His ability to run between the tackles got a whole lot better. He didn't lose any of that speed, y'all. Oh, remember that play before the end of the first half against Texas? He caught that ball in space, went upfield. hit that gear nobody else could get to, and he was gone. Homie skedaddled up the sideline. And when he got to the end zone, remember him looking up to the sky, pointing up really forcefully? Yeah, I remember that. But also, while he's pointing up forcefully, what's he doing? Celebrate the touchdown. And it was not just his ability to run in the open space, it's also his ability to just get the job done and answer the call. Whenever his name is called, he is going to be there. Think about Will Howard. I'll speak for myself. Your boy had a lot of questions about Will Howard when he transferred to Ohio State, and why Ryan Day decided to go with Will Howard over some other quarterbacks. There are some things that Ryan Day or Ohio State may have been going after. There were some rumors that Ohio State was going after other quarterbacks. I wouldn't say a rumor. I actually had someone tell me Ohio State was heavily going after somebody else. Didn't get him. Will Howard was the guy who won the national championship. And while that happened in the spring, literally a year ago, Ryan Day and the other coaches were like, this guy has a lot of work to do. A whole lot of work. His footwork had to get better. His mechanics had to get better. Had to realize you can't move at the same speed you did at Kansas State because these guys are better. They're faster, and you're going to be 5 steps behind them. Next thing you know, Will Howard's processing got quicker. Will Howard's feet got right. His mechanics got to where they needed to be. The next thing you know, Will Howard is a phenomenal quarterback, a very efficient quarterback, and he managed the game the way it needed to be managed, and he won the national championship. Now, those are just two guys who are also on offense. We could go down the list of guys on defense. Remember, Ohio State had 14 guys get drafted in this past NFL draft. 14. It really should have been 15. I don't know what happened to Seth McLaughlin. Maybe his injury is a lot worse than what we thought, but that one still blows my mind that Seth McLaughlin did not get drafted. But 14 guys getting drafted. And for a guy like Jordan Thomas from Oradell, New Jersey, a place that Tim Walton and Ohio State have recruited I say Tim Walton because of that position that he recruits, but just in general, Ohio State has recruited that area very, very well. While that's the case, you can recruit an area very well. But if you don't put an emphasis on player development, it doesn't matter how well you recruit a place, that player might not pursue you and view you as a realistic place for them to play because you are not developing players. Developed here is a saying. It's all over the social media platforms, all over different articles that are written, developed here. And what is that talking about? Well, that player was developed here, meaning Columbus, Ohio, Tuamaloau, even a guy that was only at Ohio State for 1 year, Trey Sermon. He was still developed at Ohio State. Benjamin Victor and Evan Spencer and J.T. Barrett and Dwayne Haskins. Unfortunately, he's no longer here. What happened? Those guys were developed here. And for Jordan Thomas, he knows the track record of Ohio State. He understands what it means to be developed by seeing it with his own two eyes. And I think he understands why he made the comment that the most appealing part about getting the offer and potential playing at Ohio State was being developed here. I like Jordan Thomas as a player, and I look forward to him potentially playing at Ohio State in the future. I say potentially, it's all verbal right now. I'm waiting for homie to put pen to paper to sign on that line to cement his status of being an Ohio State Buckeye. Now, there are a lot of guys that have already submitted their status to being Ohio State Buckeyes, and a lot of them will play against Texas in the fall. Well, on Monday, we got an announcement about who will broadcast that game. This episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in. Your personal CFO giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So you stop just managing your money and start building wealth. When I started using Monarch, guys, I realized just how much I was spending on food delivery. Now, I budget smarter and save more. Managing money with your partner is smoother than ever. You can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without the stress. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com. Code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year. Thank you all for tapping the Locked On Buckeyes and making this show your first listen of the day. One thing we haven't done here in quite a long time is kind of speculate, look to the future about what TV networks will broadcast the upcoming games for the Buckeyes in the fall. Normally we do that, but with the portal and NIL and other stuff going on and quarterbacks, we really haven't dove into that prediction for the upcoming season. Well, we don't have to predict anything about the first game for the Buckeyes in 2025 and the last regular season game for the Buckeyes in the upcoming season because Fox has already claimed both of those games. That is correct. Fox is going to broadcast Texas versus Ohio State week 1. Fox is also broadcasting Ohio State versus Michigan in game number 12 of the upcoming year. But we also got a confirmation that Big Noon will be at Texas versus Ohio State in week 1. My first thought was to be upset with Fox. I'm glad Fox is being there. I like Joe Klatt. I like Gus Johnson. I like Jenny Tapp. That trio as a broadcasting team does great work. I'm not here to say they're the problem or they did anything wrong. I'm not even mad at Fox for Fox broadcasting it. I am not at all. But when the new TV deal went into effect, it also aligned with Fox's broadcasting strategy, where Fox is trying to dominate the 12 noon window by putting the big game of the day there. That's what their strategy is. It tied into the new TV deal that also goes with not just Fox, but with CBS and NBC and Peacock and goes with all those networks. And Ohio State has been, is the biggest piece of the pie for the Big Ten. It's a ratings bonanza. I mean, you think about USC back in the 2000s with Reggie Bush and Matt Leinart. That's what Ohio State is for TV networks right now. I mean, it's just insane what Ohio State is. That's what the brand currently, it's the weight that the brand has. Well, Fox putting the game at Big Noon on week 1, that's not Fox's fault. The Big Ten aligned with Fox's broadcasting strategy, and that's part of that contract. Yes, there is a flexibility, and sometimes Fox does not put the big game or the big broadcast where Big Noon is for time zones and things of that nature. Like, there are times that doesn't happen. But more often than not, when Ohio State is Big Noon, actually, I don't know when Ohio State's been Big Noon, they have not been the 12 noon Eastern kickoff game. That's just what they have, and it's not Fox's fault. It's part of the contract. The contract that aligns with the broadcasting strategy goes along with why Ohio State has so many Big Noon games. Also, when Ohio State doesn't, it's not on ESPN, you're kissing a lot of your primetime games goodbye because you got CBS at 3:30. Well, they're competing with SEC at 3:30 because ABC is not going to knock away the SEC at that time slot. Okay, well, what about primetime? That's NBC. Well, that may be the third best Big Ten game of the day. Or if Notre Dame is on NBC that night for certain primetime games, well, then you don't have Ohio State there because NBC and Notre Dame got that contract. So I'm not mad at Fox for Fox taking the game. I'm not even mad at Fox for putting him at Big Noon. It's not Fox's fault. It goes along with the contract. Now, I would personally have loved to get a trade with NBC to put the game at night or trade with CBS to put the game in the afternoon because it don't matter what game is going up against Ohio State and Texas that day. It don't matter what window it is, 12, 3:30, 7:30. You can put them at 11:30 Eastern, which wouldn't happen. But if they did that, that's going to dominate the window that the game is played in. So I'm not cool. I don't believe it's been confirmed, at least at the time of this recording, that kickoff for Ohio State and Michigan will be at 12 noon, but the game's going to be at 12 noon. It's rare. I think one of the only times in my lifetime, at least since I've been an Ohio State fan, that the game was not at 12 noon was a 3:30 p.m. Eastern time kickoff, 2006 game of the century, 1 versus 2. Ohio State won that game. Couldn't find the score a bit, but it was a lot of fun to watch that game. A lot of fun. So this is not Fox's fault. So everybody's sitting up here saying, well, this is all Fox and Big Noon, they're in. No, it's not their fault. It's not their fault at all. Goes with the contract, man. It goes with the contract that the Big Ten agreed to. Now, the one thing that I wish for the next time these networks start to do some stuff. One, I know Amazon is going to start to get into the college football and try to broadcast those games. They're going all in on. No, NBC is going all in on the NBA. Even have Michael Jordan as a consultant. When I first heard it, I was like, "What? Michael Jordan as a consultant for NBA on NBC?" I'm there. Now I don't know how great he's going to be as a commentator. I have no idea. I don't know what kind of consultant he's going to be doing. But if someone's on the TV, I'm going to try to tap in. Now I try to tap into the Manning cast. It's not really my cup of tea, so I don't really tap into it a lot. But Michael Jordan's different. As great as Peyton Manning is as a quarterback, he ain't Mike. It's only one Michael Jordan. Somebody tapped into that. But I got off track. The one thing I hope the next time the TV deal is up and the Big Ten needs to make another deal, do it with all four of the major networks. Do it with Fox, do it with NBC, do it with CBS, and do it with ABC. Yeah, ESPN's cool, but they have so much SEC football. If you do it with ABC, the Big Ten might be the only conference to have a deal with all four network television stations: Fox, ABC, NBC, CBS. That's unheard of. I mean, literally, when Notre Dame got the contract with NBC in the 90s, that was unheard of. One school with a contract with a network television station? Excuse me? That's unheard of. But it was smart. It was great marketing. It was great by both sides, both companies, by NBC, by Notre Dame. That would be so smart. I don't think they're going to. If you're with NBC, you got to have games on Peacock. I don't like it. I don't know if CBS has Paramount Plus exclusive games. I don't think NBC should have games exclusively on Peacock. I think that's while you're trying to grow your own app and streaming service, it just doesn't sit well with me. As someone, this is also a little bit of my fandom and how I personally watch TV. I don't like going from streaming app to streaming app to streaming app. As someone that likes to watch games and go back and forth from this game to that game, I don't want to have to leave an app to go to my YouTube TV to go back to the Peacock. I don't like that. So my own preference, but that matters to me. And you have your own preferences, which matter to you. I don't like it. Eventually, there will be a big push by Amazon to get college football rights and to broadcast college football games. They have done a great job with the NFL, a phenomenal job. Eventually, Netflix is going to get in the game too. They're going to have an Amazon Prime, a Netflix, and maybe Hulu gets into the picture. We'll have to have all these apps to watch the games that are not on your cable service. Maybe some of you do Hulu Live or YouTube TV like myself. Whatever the case may be, I'm not going to lie to you, man, it's going to be annoying. It's going to be very annoying. But if the Big Ten continues to follow the money, follow and do what the TV networks want them to do, you might have a scenario where Fox still gets the number one pick. And whenever this new TV deal is up, you might get a scenario where, once again, Ohio State, Alabama is a noon kickoff on Fox. Why? It's part of the contract. It follows Fox's broadcasting strategy. If they want to dominate that window, yeah, they got flexibility. They can change it. But it's highly unlikely when the game it's kicked off on the Eastern time zone. Oh, man, this has been a fun show, y'all. Glad to be back here on the solo show. Hope you enjoyed the crossover that we did yesterday, talking about Ohio State and Penn State. I probably said some stuff that some people were caught off guard by, but that's the way the cookie crumbles. Thank you for checking out Locked on Buckeyes, making this your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the portal. My guy, Brian Smith, has the latest rumors, portal entries, and signings. Be the most informed fan on the rapid changes to the college football landscape. Find the portal and Locked on Buckeyes on the YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. You can follow me on any social media platform at jstevens07. Send every email to jstevens317@gmail.com. Besides the Locked On Buckeyes right here on a Tuesday. We'll see you next time.